Howdy YouTube, Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. Oh, it's a glorious day today. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, the temperature's in the mid-70s. We had some nice rain over the weekend, and today has been a very quiet Monday, and a very beautiful Monday. So I'm in a good mood, and I want to bring you another video. This is something that I've been meaning to do for months, and I finally was able to save up the money and to be able to purchase, to be able to build what I built in this video today. And as you know, my daily driver workstation is a Core i5 4-core processor with 16 gig RAM and a gigabyte board that's about 5 or 6 years old. I had a good GTX 950 video card in there, and a SSD, and a spinning hard drive, and that's the one that brings you all these wonderful videos. And the problem I wasn't actually having a problem with it. It was a very stable system, but the problem I was having with it was I was just trying to do too much at one time with it, and any time I would go out and render a video, it would slow down the system to the point where I could barely, browse the web or whatever. And I thought, well, there's got to be a better way to do this. And I toyed with the idea of going with another Intel processor, getting an i7, but the prices of Intel processors have been, I'm the king of cheap, as you know. I'm the king of bang for your buck. I should restate that, not the king of cheap. My father was the king of cheap. I'm the king of bang for your buck. And I waited 6 months until after AMD had released their Ryzen products, and I've been studying and viewing videos. I've been watching Linus on Linus Tech Tips. I've been watching Paul's Hardware, his reviews. I've been watching another YouTuber called Tech. Let me get the guy's name for you, or the name of the channel. Tech Deals. That guy has a really great YouTube channel. So if you get a chance, go over to Tech, T-E-C-H Deals, and check out his YouTube channel. He does really great videos. And I come to realize that the time was right for to build myself a Ryzen system. So I toyed with the idea of updating the machine that I had. And then I got to thinking, well, you're always in need of a second workstation. And as you can see on that workbench behind me, I've got the monitors set up, and I've got my Mac Mini over there, i5 Mac Mini that I got so that I can do service on Macs. And I said, well, I'd probably be better off just to get a new case and a new motherboard and a new CPU and a new power supply, everything but the video card and the hard drives, and just build a system from scratch. And that's what I've done today. So this video coming up now, I'm going to show you the parts I use to do the build. I'm not going to do the actual build. I don't find that stuff. I like to focus on the build when I'm building it. I don't have time to operate the camera. And I'm doing some playing around with 2 different cameras today, and so the camera work is not the best, but that's not why you watch this channel. So, and then at the end of the video, I'll give you my final thoughts on how I feel about this new system that I built. So without further ado, let's get the video started. So the board I chose for this build is the Gigabyte AB350-Gaming 3 motherboard. Had good reviews, and I personally have a affinity for Gigabyte motherboards. I happen to like them very much. In fact, my last build, my i5 is a Gigabyte motherboard, and my Exponology NAS is a Gigabyte motherboard. I used to use MSI, but I've had, in fact, my AMD motherboards, both of those are MSI, but I just have a preference for Gigabyte. I've had a really good luck with them. And of course, next to that is the AMD Ryzen 5 1600 CPU. Here's a better picture of the motherboard itself. And as you can see, we've got the CPU pin. I ended up not using this bracket because the Ryzen 5 1600 comes with the Spire cooler, which is a larger cooler. So you have to take these little plastic pieces off and put that on in place. And the RAM slots, serial ATA ports here, power connector, etc. Headers for your front panel audio, USB, etc. and your power switches. It has two of the PCI Express slots are reinforced with metal. I don't know what that does, whether it has any impact on it at all. I guess if you have very large video cards in there, it makes a different side to side, but if you have two large video cards in there, they should be properly braced. They sell braces for those larger video cards when the motherboard is vertical to prevent that from happening. So, and then it has the Japanese high quality capacitors for the audio circuit. Strangely, we'll discuss what's going on with the audio circuit. Okay, so here is the system built. A nice side view. This is not the video card that I ended up keeping in it. You'll see in some other video I'm going to show you the video card I actually ended up using. It has a really unique LED lighting scheme that you'll see in the video, and then the fan in the back is lit as well. A view of the front, even though it's plastic, and this case is very light, by the way. It's a very light case. Not cheap light. You don't feel like you're going to bend it or break it, you know, but just by touching it. But the front has this brushed, even though it's plastic, it looks like a brushed metal finish on the front. You have your power reset button, your LED power indicator, and hard drive indicator. USB 3 slots are here, front panel audio, and then USB 2 slots are here. And another view of the front. You can also have the front panel audio come out here. And here's another side view of the build. You can see it's very clean inside. I was tempted to put a DVD rewritable drive in there, but I just like the clean look of the front of this better. And I'm going to keep my i5 as my DVD and my Blu-ray ripper, so I'm not real concerned about that. But as a consequence, the actual spinning hard drive is down here, and this is the SSD right here, and it mounts on the back side of the motherboard, so the opposite side. There's room in the case for 2 or 3 SSDs here, and 2 or 3 spinning hard drives as well, 3.5 inch. And then the power supply is under here. Another view. Okay, and a shot of the AMD Ryzen 5, and just to show to you that it is the 1600. So it's a 6-core 12-thread, 19 megabyte cache, 3.2 gigahertz base, and 3.6 gigahertz precision boost processor. So I've got to go on a little rant here. I really like Newegg. I used to shop with them a lot. And Newegg's a good company. They got really good prices. Just take a look at that power supply. That's a nice price. It's got good ratings, got 4 out of 5 eggs. It's a semi-modular power supply, which is what I ordered for my build. But the problem is I ordered it from Newegg. And Newegg doesn't have free shipping. They have $3.99 shipping. The problem is that here we are a week later, I still haven't received this power supply. And it's coming via FedEx post. So they send it via FedEx, and then the FedEx hands it off to the post office. Well, I'm out in a rural area, and I'm not real popular with my delivery guy out here, because I've filed, several complaints against him with a postmaster because he just doesn't seem to be able to get our mail in our mailbox. So he doesn't like delivering packages to me, and will purposely keep them at the post office and not deliver them, claiming all the lockers are full. But anyway, I digress. So now I'm going to have to go up to the post office, I'm sure next week at some point. This is going to come in, and I'm going to have to pick it up. So I was forced to use an older power supply, actually a larger power supply, but not a Plus Bronze certified power supply. But when it comes in, I'll shove that in there. But that's my little rant about Newegg. I hate their shipping. I hate it. And by the time you pay for better shipping. You could just go get it on Amazon for sometimes a little bit more. But you know, I'm cheap, and this is what attracts me, is that price. This is the RAM I ended up getting, and this is why I got it from Newegg. They simply had the best price on this RAM. Now, this RAM is not on the compatibility list from Gigabyte, so you take a risk when you buy RAM like this. And I got 2666 RAM because I had looked around on YouTube and I'd found another guy who built a system, and he used this exact same RAM and never had any trouble with it. I said, so, well, let me order it. Normally this RAM would have about 170 or 180 bucks. That was the cheapest I found before I found this was on sale for 5 or 6 days from Newegg. So and I went ahead and paid 1-day shipping on this. I paid 20 bucks extra, or $25 extra for 1-day shipping, which brought the price right back up to $175. But I got the RAM in 1 day because I needed it. I just happened to be lucky that it was red. And it did come within 1 day. Came via FedEx 1 day. And this is the case I ended up using. Strangely, this was sent via FedEx regular shipping because of the weight, I'm sure. So that was delivered in time for the build. And you had a color choice of white or black. I put this up there so y'all know what case it is. It's a DIY PC J180-W white. It's a very nice case. I love how it's laid out. It only has two 5 1/4 inch slots, but it has a really clean look. I don't know. I particularly like it. Some people may not like that style of case. Now this is I'm going to go ahead and play. This is camera footage from my actual phone, my iPhone, and so I'm going to go ahead and play that so you can see the final build. And then you notice my lovely finger coming into the view. This is my GTX 950 WindForce video card. That's a video card I ended up going with, and I had to draw the power cable out from underneath and to give power to that. But I'll let that footage run for a minute and pause it where it needs to. And you can see I've got the lights to cycle within the case. I like that effect better. The RAM is in. The unit is actually up and running. In fact, I'm recording this on it as we speak. So the build was a success, and I just think it's it turned out beautifully. It's like a little work of art next to me on the desk. You know, I don't mean to brag on my own build, but it's just, you know, it's pleasing to see something like this come together in the final, you know, in the final package. And so far I've been very pleased with how it turned out. And here's some footage from my Canon camera, the one that was so graciously donated months ago by one of my subscribers. And I'll just play that. It takes a beautiful picture as well, but I have to manually focus it. So sometimes my footage on this camera can be out of focus. I'll pause it right here. I just want the power button to reset, power LED, hard drive LED, USB 3 ports and USB 2 ports, and front panel audio. And then you also have another option here for front panel audio. And then I purchased this little gem. I forgot the name of the company it's from, but I'll put it in the notes down in the comment section. It's a SD card reader plus USB 3 ports. It fits right on the top of the PC. It's got a sticky bottom on it, so it keeps it from sliding around, and then it plugs right into the USB slot on the front. And then on the top of this unit, there's a view of the front of the unit. And these little areas here, this is actually a grill. It's a black grill, so there's a fan behind here that pulls in air. Just trying to learn how to focus on that camera. And then a view of the top of the case. And at the top of the case toward the back, there's the card reader and the USB 3 hub. And then at the back of the unit this is a magnetized cover. So around the edges are a magnet. You just lift them up and you can take that panel out and clean it, blow it out, whatever you need to do to keep it clean. And then it has no rough edges. It lies nice and flat. with the top of the case. Just another way for it to draw air in, and it works rather well. And here's me trying to learn how to focus this camera, so thanks for bearing with me. But this is what the completed build looks like in the light of day. This is some nighttime Canon camera footage, and you can see what I mean about it's pretty sitting next to it, trying some angles, some stuff with the camera. Sorry about that. But imagine yourself sitting next to it. It's not quite like a Christmas tree, but close enough. Very pretty. In fact, I find myself, I just sit here sometimes and look at the pretty flashing lights. But yeah, you know, cable management could be a bit better. But at the time I built this, I was taking my time to be slow and do the cables well, and I did a fairly good job. But the main thing was I wanted to get this thing up and running so that I could use it. And like I said, I'm very happy with the performance of this machine, and with the increase in speed I got. Not phenomenal, but let's put it this way: I can edit a video now while I'm rendering out a video. I wasn't able to do that before. Anytime I went to render a video on my old i5 machine, I could barely browse the web or watch a YouTube video without something stuttering or slowing down. Now I can go through, I can go through a build on a video and even edit another video while that video is being, being compiled and or rendered, I should say. And so it gives me a little more freedom on the machine, and very happy with the performance of this thing. I came across another video that said the best way to overclock it was to go in and increase the ratio from 32 to 37, and that it would more than likely be stable at that ratio. But I'm just running it at the core, or at the base frequency at 3.2 gigahertz, and I'm going to worry about overclocking once I make sure the system is nice and stable. Yeah, there's the G-Skill RAM, the Ripjaws. I'm going to wait till it's nice. I make sure it's nice and stable and everything works, and then I'll worry about playing around with overclocking. I'm not real concerned about overclocking at this point. And here's my old Stormtrooper looking machine, and you can see I've got a DVD burner drive and a Blu-ray drive in this unit. So this is what I use to rip my DVDs and Blu-rays, and it's got USB 3 ports in the front, and then a USB 2 front panel audio, power. This is for fan speed internally. And no, I'm not going to be giving this machine away. In fact, it's over on my secondary desktop, as you can see. I've got the Logitech subwoofer on it right now, but that is going to be put to work. That's my surveillance video software is running on there. I've got I purchased this device, which is a beautiful powered USB 3 hub with smart power USB ports for plugging in my tablet and my phones, etc. There's the box my Ryzen processor came in. I bought another set of Logitech speakers for this unit. I've got the 2 Dell monitors now mounted on the wall. Back here I've got my Mac Mini here, the i5 Mac Mini, and I've got a piece of software on here that allows me to switch between the keyboard and mouse between the Apple and the PC just by moving the mouse from one screen to the other. It's really a cool piece of software. And so the desktop's kind of dirty and disorganized at this point, but and then some movies I was ripping for the spouse. And if you notice, it's very, very bright in this spot, and that's because I've got a huge overhead LED light, because this is going to be my work area where I work on things, and I need a lot of light to see to some of these small parts on these boards. So my old workhorse is being put to good use, not out to pasture. So these are my Crystal Dismark ratings. This is an SSD drive. My C drive is an SSD drive. It is actually a SanDisk SSD drive. and I get pretty good read and write times on there. There's the scores. Now my D drive is a spinning drive. It's a Seagate 1 terabyte drive that I use as my scratch drive for Adobe Premiere and video editing, that kind of thing. And these are the scores that was able to reach. And this is the CPU-Z score of 403.6 for a single thread and 3163.2 for a multi-core score. And here's the Cinebench Revision 15 score. You see it identifies it as the AMD Ryzen 5 1600, 6-core 12-thread at 3.2. For some reason it misidentifies Windows 10 as Windows 8, and my GeForce GTX 950. And you can see my OpenGL score is 94.84 frames per second, and my CPU score was 1133 CBs. So it puts me right above similarly equipped i7 3930. It even beats out the Intel i7 4770, 3770, 3720, 38. You can see the proof is in the pudding here at rates number 2 on there. There were no identical systems, I guess, to compare that with, but this is my Cinebench score. And that is the finished product. As you can see, I'm very happy with the way the build turned out. I really like this case. I like the Gigabyte motherboard. I'm a big fan of Gigabyte boards. I had some DDR4 RAM laying around from when I did a server about a year ago. The problem is that when the DDR4 RAM first came out, timing was kind of very critical, especially with these Ryzen processors. So my plan was to use this 32 gig of RAM I had laying around, but it would not work in this Ryzen board. So I've ended up putting that RAM on eBay. But the problem is that I had everything here to build the system except for the RAM. And RAM is in short supply right now. The prices are high, and I went over the hardware compatibility list for Gigabyte, and every RAM stick they had on there was either back ordered or not available, or I couldn't find at a price I could afford. And I came across one of these YouTube videos where somebody had built a Ryzen 5 system just like mine, same components, same CPU, same motherboard, and they had used the G.Skill Ripjaws RAM that you saw earlier in the video. And fortunately Newegg had a really good price on that, so I jumped on it. And then in order to get the build done over the weekend, I ordered the RAM on Wednesday, and it was here on Thursday. I did overnight shipping or one-day shipping, so I'm glad I did that because I did not want to have to wait around for RAM to come in. So this machine is a screamer. You saw my Geekbench, Cinebench scores. You saw my scores for Crystal Mark, etc. And I'm not real big on benchmarking, but it does give you an idea of how to compare it to similar systems. And I'm not saying that AMD is better than Intel. I am Intel AMD agnostic. I don't care. Whatever processor gets the job done. Those AMD Athlon X4635s I have that were servers are still doing well. So I'm not a big fan of Intel over AMD. I don't get into that fight. I go with whatever is the most cost effective for me, and after doing my research, the most cost effective way for me to get a speedier machine was to go with a Ryzen processor, because I will actually use all those cores. You know, there's some question whether Ryzen is good enough for gaming. I think it is. For the little amount of gaming that I do, it's all on Steam, so I'm quite happy with the machine. I did have one small problem. I noticed that my audio, whenever I watched a video or I made a video, I was getting this popping and clicking in the video from the audio, and I was trying to wrap my head around why I was getting that. Finally, what I did was I uninstalled the Realtek software, not the driver, but the software that comes from Gigabyte for this motherboard. I just uninstalled that software and let it use the Windows native driver that it found, and my audio problems are gone. So if you have any problems with audio popping or crackling It's like, you know, it'll crackle every few minutes. Uninstall that Realtek software and just leave the base driver installed, and it should solve your problem. And I almost forgot to talk about overclocking. This processor is rated between 3.2 and the turbo boost at 3.6, but you can go into the BIOS without having to adjust voltages or anything and just adjust the multiplier from 32.00 to 37.00. And according to the guy I was telling you about at Tech Deals, he says that is the sweet spot for overclocking this Ryzen 5 1600 processor. All you have to do is change the multiplier to 37.00, and you will get 3.7 gigahertz out of the system. And I have done that, but I haven't tested it thoroughly, and I want to make sure the system is stable before I go to overclocking it. So I'm running it at 3.2 gigahertz, but in a later video I'll bump that speed up to 3.7 gigahertz and see if we still have stability. Like I said, the guy over at Tech Deals claims that is the sweet spot for this processor and should run without any problems. So we shall see. Alright, so I paid about $100 for the motherboard. I paid about $200 for the Ryzen processor, the Ryzen 5 1600. I paid nearly $200 with shipping for RAM. The case was $38, the power supply was $38, the rest of the components I had. So all told, I got about $575 into this Ryzen build. And like I said, I'm very happy with the end result. So if you're sitting on the fence and trying to decide between a Ryzen and an Intel, you know, hopefully this will help you make a decision. But again, I've never had any problem with AMD equipment before, and so I'm not afraid to use it. And frankly, you know, Intel's been kind of gouging us on prices for the last few years because they haven't had any competition. So I did watch over the weekend, Barnacle-Ys is building an i9 system, Intel i9, and he says, you know, AMD's for poor people. Well, so be it. I like being poor. It means I have more money for food and alcohol. But anyway, so if you get a chance, check out Barnacle-Ys' website as well. He's got an i9 build that Puget Systems did for him. I think it came out to be $12,000. Yeah, $12,000. I spent $600, and the whole reason Barnacle-Ys did his was to get stable Adobe Premiere video editing. My Adobe Premiere editing is like butter. Now, granted, I don't do 4K footage, but neither does Barnacle-Ys, frankly. I don't believe he does a lot of 4K footage. I don't even think he has a 4K camera. But hey, whatever, $12,000 versus $600. Hey, you want to spend? You got the money to spend. I think Puget actually built it and gave it to him, and then they get all the advertising. So, and it's not envy. I'm just going, you know, how much power do you really need to edit videos? But I digress. So if you get a chance, go out and check out Barnacle-Ys' channel and see what you think of his i9 build. He should be probably having a video up on it here pretty soon. If not, you can go to Twitch and check out Puget, P-U-G-E-T Systems, and they've got about a 4-hour video on there of them building the machine for him. So we hope you found this video entertaining and informative. Give us a thumbs up down below if you liked it. Leave your comments in the comments section, and I could use some donations to help me pay for this lovely beast of a machine. So if you're so inclined, we take donations on Patreon or PayPal. We got some more videos coming up this week. Going gangbusters on the videos, and we've got some more Windows Lab series coming up. We're actually going to do a Windows Lab on creating a separate network for the lab from my production network. That way we can start getting into some things like VLANs and routing between subnets and that kind of thing. So we got some exciting videos coming up on that. I'm just waiting for some more equipment to come in. So like I said, give us a thumbs up down below if you liked it. Thanks again for joining us. I appreciate all of my subscribers and all the people that comment on the videos, and I've had a lot of fun doing them here lately. So thanks again for watching, and don't forget, we'll see you on the other side.